What is up, everyone? Today we are working on the spirit of authenticity. This is the concept sketch right here. What I was thinking about is how you have to be vulnerable while also being protective to be authentic. You kind of have to find a balance between being fully open with everyone while also having healthy boundaries. That's kind of where this concept comes from, because you can see there's like this flower, then these protective hands. You'll see it a little bit more clearly once the painting is done, but there is this flower that's essentially the core of a person. You want to be able to show it while also being protective, so I have these hands that are covering it, being protective. And on top of that, I wanted these flamboyant wings that kind of represent being confident, and that's how this concept came together. And it's kind of the things that I was thinking about while I was working on this. In terms of colors for this piece, I want something that feels royal but warm, so I'm thinking about purple, yellow, and mint green. Like, that's kind of where I think these colors should go. I did a little bit of color experimenting. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but let's see how this works out. So working on the line work, this is definitely one of the easiest and most comfortable parts for me, because I'm so used to doing line work from doing ink work, because I moved from doing ballpoint pen drawings to painting. So this feels comfortable for me. Colors make me nervous, so the line work is definitely the part that I kind of enjoy the most. It's usually this part, and then like towards the end when things start coming together, those are the parts that I enjoy. Colors are definitely the thing that makes me the most nervous, because it's something that's new to me, something that I have to get used to. And I also feel like I should be doing a little bit more planning, which is something I need to start doing for my future pieces. This also takes a lot of focus to get good lines. Even though this is easy, it's definitely something that I've noticed where if I'm not focused, it definitely shows the lines, because to get nice, clean line work, you definitely have to pay very close attention to what you're doing. It's not something you can do while being totally distracted. It's something that takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of focus, and I think that's part of why I enjoy it so much. It requires my attention, so I can't be distracted, and that makes it so much more enjoyable. If I could be distracted, I probably wouldn't enjoy it as much. And yeah, that's why this is fun for me. All right, day 2. Let's start doing washes of color. So yesterday I finished up the lines. Today I definitely want to finish as much of the color as possible. This part of it's been really challenging. The mint green wasn't working the way I wanted for today. It just didn't come out the way I planned it. I eventually changed the background to blue, and I added vibrant blue lines as accent colors to give it more life. But now looking back on it, it's just that I should have added warmth to the character. So I was running into this problem where everything felt too flat, and I assumed that it was the mint green that was the problem, which I eventually changed to the blue. That was actually the wrong choice. The problem was that the character wasn't warm enough, so I should have added more yellow tones into the character, and that would have made the character pop out more. The mint green was warm in nature, and I think that's what made it feel flat. I didn't make the character warm enough, so the character was too cold in color temperature. So instead of changing the mint green, which is what I ended up doing, I should have just made the character more warm. So that's kind of a regret now looking back on it. And it's like, once I added the blue on top, which you'll see by the end of today, it's just I couldn't really add green on top of that again. Like, I couldn't go back and fix it. It would just be too many layers. I would have had to start over, because the problem with the way I work is that a lot of it's washes of colors, so there's a limitation to how many times I can paint over top before I had to start redoing all the lines. So I didn't want to redo the lines, so I just went through and stuck with the blue that I eventually go with. But I do kind of regret now looking back on the painting that I probably should have stuck with the mint green, because the blue is good. Like, it definitely makes the piece feel cohesive, but it also makes it slightly less warm. Like, it makes it slightly colder than I had initially intended, because in the beginning I was talking about how I wanted to feel royal but warm. So this is kind of more royal but slightly cold, but there's still a lot of warmth in the yellows, so that's okay. Day 2 went all right. Tomorrow I definitely want to really push through and do a lot of the patterning, so let's see what happens tomorrow. All right, day 3. This is the most satisfying and fun part of the entire painting process, and that's like doing the patterns, is what I mentioned before. Especially on this painting, doing the blue lines was super fun. Day 3 was a good day, because day 2 was definitely like kind of draining because I was so worried about the colors. The colors just weren't turning out the way I wanted. And I did make the wrong decisions in the end, but at least I figured out how to fix this problem in the future. Like if I want the character to pop off the background, I need to make the character either warmer or make the background colder. Like make the character be the main focus of warmth in all my pieces, which makes a lot of sense for what I'm doing. Like if these spirits are supposed to represent virtues, then the character should definitely be warmer than the background. I really love doing these patterns. I'll definitely come up with any excuse to do these on to any of my characters. And at this stage I also repaint over some of the dark lines, because as I did washes, some of them will get a little bit too faded, and if I want to bring out some of the character, I'll redo some of the darker lines. And as I was working on this, I was realizing I should move to a taller format. So this piece is 11 by 14. I need to move to 12 by 16 because these characters tend to be taller, but the painting panel is kind of wide, and it makes it feel a little bit awkward. The composition doesn't feel right. Like I feel a little bit like cramped on the top and bottom. So I need to move to a taller format so I can do even taller characters. That's definitely something that I'm going to be doing for the next painting, where I'm going to do it 12 by 16, which is like taller. I think that will feel better in terms of composition, because I've struggled a little bit with it for the past few pieces. I was wondering if it was just my drawings that were the problem, but now looking at it, I realized, okay, I just need to move to a taller format. It'll feel more natural. For this piece, I decided to go with this like flat background, which is kind of like Art Nouveau inspired, Art Deco inspired. Since the flower was one of the main parts of the concept, I needed to keep the flower special. So I couldn't add a bunch of flowers in the background like I usually do. So I decided to go with this more flat background. I wanted to see like how this would turn out, because I wasn't sure if this is something that I could pull off. I've seen artists do this stuff, but I've never tried it for myself, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. It definitely worked out the way I wanted it to, and it's something I'll be doing a lot more of in the future, because I realized that doing backgrounds, like realistic backgrounds that have dimension to them, just isn't for me. I feel like this illustrative approach is so much more natural for me, so I'm definitely going to be doing way more flat backgrounds, more design based backgrounds, instead of doing painterly approach where you do stuff realistically. That just doesn't work for me. So I think this more design aesthetic makes more sense for me, especially like Art Nouveau inspired, because Art Nouveau is like this very decorative style and definitely suits what I like my drawings. Like my drawings are so heavily influenced by like decorative elements, so that's something that I'm definitely going to be trying more of in the future. That's it for this piece. Looking back, looking back on the whole process, I wish I had kept the mint green. That's like one of the regrets with this piece, but it's something that comes from not planning my colors out enough. So I'm definitely going to be doing a color rough stage for future paintings, where I actually go through my colors, actually plan them out properly, because I just winging it like I have been isn't really a great way to be doing this. I realize that that's one of my main problems. The reason why I'm nervous about colors is that I'm not spending enough time planning them out. So that's something I'm going to be doing. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've done so far. The concept felt so right. It just hit the right spot. So much of my process is intuitive, so trying to explain it is kind of difficult, but I know when I've hit the spot, like what I was thinking about, what I was feeling did show through in the finished piece, and that's super happy about it. Here's the finished painting when I took the proper photo, add a little bit of saturation, because the catching paintings on video is actually very challenging. Maybe I just don't know how to do it properly, but if I don't add varnish to these paintings, then they feel kind of flat in terms of their colors. But I can't add the varnish until I'm done doing proper photos of it and stuff. So, because the varnish is shiny, so it's kind of like I just can't get proper video of it right now. I need to figure out if I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not shooting properly, or maybe I need to change settings in the camera to get better colors. But yeah, here's the finished painting. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you're interested in staying in touch, make sure to join the mailing list over on the website. The link will be in the description. I also have tons of more art and art tutorials over on the website. And if you're interested in becoming part of the adventure of discovering all these spirits, I have like a monthly membership on the website and on Patreon, but I recommend you sign up on the website. It's $5 a month Canadian. You get exclusive videos and early access to sketches and behind the scenes stuff. So if you're interested in that and being part of the project, feel free to check that out on the website. And if you can also subscribe if you want to. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for checking this out. Bye. 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 Bye.